Let's discuss the ethical issues in agricultural research. First point is sustainability. The ethical dilemmas arise when short term problems are preferred over long term ones. Institutional capacities to address long term problems require different kind of reinforcement than otherwise. Ethical dilemma also arises when certain sectors, segments, social classes, and seasons are preferred over others while choosing problems or locating them, solving them, or diffusing the solutions obtained. Interspecies and intersectoral concerns also influence the sustainability of the outcomes. Not all local practices need to be sustained. Sustainability is as much about continuity as about discontinuity. That is, innovations or fundamental change in values. तो ये जो आपके एथिकल डिलेमास होते हैं, ये तब उठते हैं जब हम शॉर्ट टर्म प्रॉब्लम्स की तरफ ध्यान देते हैं और लॉन्ग टर्म प्रॉब्लम्स जो हैं उनको हम ओवरलुक कर देते हैं। जो इंस्टीट्यूशंस होते हैं उनकी जो कैपेसिटी होती है एड्रेस करने की लॉन्ग टर्म प्रॉब्लम्स को, वो रिक्वायर करती है अलग तरीके का रीइंफोर्समेंट जो कि रेगुलर वे से अलग हो। आपकी जो एथिकल डिलेमा है वो तब भी अराइज होती है जब सर्टेन सेक्टर्स या कुछ उसके हिस्से, कुछ सोशल क्लासेस और कुछ एनवायरमेंटल कंडीशंस और सीजन्स जो होते हैं उनको अगर आप प्रिफर करते हो दूसरों के ऊपर। अब आपको कोई प्रॉब्लम चूज करनी है, या आपको कोई प्रॉब्लम की लोकेशन सेट करनी है, या आपको कोई प्रॉब्लम की सिचुएशन को सॉल्व करना है, तो उन सब के ऊपर अगर आप अलग अलग सेक्टर्स पे, सेगमेंट्स पे, सोशल क्लासेस पे या सीजन्स के ऊपर प्रेफर करोगे तो ये तब भी एथिकल डिलेमा अराइज हो सकती है। कभी कभी इंटरस्पीसीज एंड इंटरसेक्टोरियल कंसर्न्स जो हैं वो भी इन्फ्लुएंस करते हैं एक आउटकम की सस्टेनेबिलिटी को। जो आपकी लोकल प्रैक्टिसेस होती हैं वो ऐसा नहीं है कि सारी की सारी सस्टेन हो। जो सस्टेनेबिलिटी है वो कंटिन्यूटी के लिए भी इम्पोर्टेंट है जितनी वो डिसकंटिन्यूटी के लिए है। दैट इज innovations or fundamental change in the values. Second, ecosystem health. When scientists know about the concomitants of the ecosystem health and yet develop technologies which impair the health, they are not making a trade off but also passing a value judgment. Transferring costs of near term trade offs over the longer term stakeholder may neither be ethical nor economically very judicious. Ecosystem health is also affected when long term consequences of certain chemical inputs are known or anticipatable, and yet these are continued to be used. Judgments are involved when chemicals banned in Western countries are allowed to be used in developing countries, when the precautionary principle is applied or not applied, and while technologies are transferred to countries which may or may not have capacities to assess the consequences. जब साइंटिस्ट उनको इकोसिस्टम की हेल्थ के बारे में पता होता है या उन फैक्टर्स के बारे में पता होता है जो कि इकोसिस्टम की हेल्थ को हार्म करेंगे, तो वो साइंटिस्ट अगर उसी काम को कंटिन्यू करते हैं तो वो एक सही काम नहीं कर रहे होते हैं, लेकिन वो एक अपना खुद का पर्सनल जजमेंट पास कर रहे होते हैं। कुछ कंडीशंस ऐसी होती हैं कि साइंटिस्ट वगैरह ये पैसा देखते हैं छोटे ड्यूरेशन के अंदर, और लॉन्ग टर्म जो इफेक्ट होता है उसको ये साइडलाइन कर देते हैं। ये जो प्रैक्टिस है, ये प्रैक्टिस अच्छी प्रैक्टिस नहीं है। इकोसिस्टम की जो हेल्थ है वो लॉन्ग टर्म, उसके जो कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस हैं अगर हम उनको नहीं देखकर चलेंगे तो वो हेल्थ अफेक्ट होगी। खास तौर पे जैसे कि अगर अपन ने कोई स्पेशल केमिकल देखा और उसका हमें पता है कि उस केमिकल को यूज़ करने से क्या क्या नुकसान हो सकते हैं, और फिर भी अगर हम उस केमिकल को यूज़ करते गए तो इकोसिस्टम की हेल्थ खराब होगी। दूसरा, कुछ केमिकल्स जो कि वेस्टर्न कंट्रीज के अंदर बैंड है उनको अलाउड नहीं है आपको यूज़ करना, और वो आप डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज के अंदर, पाकिस्तान हो गया, मलेशिया हो गया, इंडोनेशिया हो गया, इंडिया हो गया, श्रीलंका हो गया, अफ्रीकन कंट्रीज हो गई, इनके अंदर अगर आप उन केमिकल्स को यूज़ कर रहे हो तो ये भी इकोसिस्टम की हेल्थ को नुकसान पहुंचाता है। इसका सबसे अच्छा एग्जाम्पल हम देख सकते हैं डीडीटी के अंदर। डीडीटी बायोमैग्निफिकेशन चेन के अंदर आके एनवायरनमेंट को बहुत ज़्यादा हार्म करता है, लेकिन उसको बहुत टाइम लगा बैन करने में। Responsiveness. In any context, not everybody's problem is equally important. Michael Lipton once drew attention to the biases that existed in favor of interesting best vis-a-vis the relevant ones. When certain problems remain unsolved or unaddressed for centuries, surely it says something about the dominant ethics in the society, which does not generate a dilemma or a discomfort despite sustained inertia and indifference. A good example is the cooking stove used by millions of women, or carrying water pots on head for long distance, transporting grass or twigs on head on the hill slopes by women, or transplanting paddy by keeping feet under water and thus getting fungal infections, etc. सबकी प्रॉब्लम इक्वली इम्पोर्टेंट नहीं होती है। माइकल लिप्टन जी ने एक बार उस बायस के ऊपर अटेंशन डालने की कोशिश करी थी जो कि उन पेस्ट के लिए थी जो कि इंसान के लिए रेलेवेंट थे। जब सर्टन प्रॉब्लम्स अनसॉल्व रह जाती हैं या अनएड्रेस्ड रह जाती हैं खूब सेंचुरीज के लिए, ये सोसाइटी की उन एथिक्स के बारे में आपको इन्फॉर्म करता है जो कि उस टाइम पे प्रचलित होती हैं, डोमिनेंट होती हैं। वो जो प्रॉब्लम्स हैं वो डिलेमा या डिस्कम्फर्ट जनरेट नहीं करती हैं, प्रॉब्लम्स कंटिन्यू करती हैं, लेकिन फिर भी उनको इनर्शिया मिलता रहता है, लेकिन लोग फिर भी उसकी तरफ इंडिफरेंट होते हैं। इसका एग्जाम्पल आपने देखा होगा, कुकिंग स्टोव पे जो अपन गांव में चूल्हा बनाते हैं लकड़ी का, उससे कितना धुआं होता है, लंग्स खराब होती हैं, इसलिए कुकिंग गैस की शुरुआत की गई थी। फिर औरतें गांव के अंदर खूब लंबे लंबे डिस्टेंस के ऊपर जाती हैं पानी लेने के लिए। तो ये सारी चीजें जो हैं ये गलत है। चौथा है अकाउंटेबिलिटी। Researchers seldom share their feelings with the people from whom they collect the data. Not only that, they often do not even calibrate their criteria of relevant or not so relevant research by involving the users of research in collaboration. Ethical dilemma also arises when a large multinational corporation informs the consumers of its chemical inputs about a desirable resource use practice in West, but which they do not share in the developing countries. The community of cooperation has to evolve its own code of conduct censoring such behavior. रिसर्चर्स जो हैं वो अपनी फाइंडिंग्स उन लोगों के साथ शेयर बहुत कम करते हैं जिन लोगों से उन्होंने उस डेटा को कलेक्ट किया है। यही नहीं, कभी कभी ऐसा भी होता है कि उनके जो क्राइटेरिया होते हैं उस रिसर्च को करने के, वो उन क्राइटेरिया को भी कैलिब्रेट नहीं करते हैं। एथिकल डिलेमा तब भी अराइज होती है जब बड़ी मल्टीनेशनल कंपनीज जो हैं वो अपने देश में और बड़ी कंट्रीज में, डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज में, एडवांस कंट्रीज में सारा डेटा शो करती हैं, लेकिन जो डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज हैं, पुअर कंट्रीज हैं, उनको ये इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं देती है। इसी कारण से एक कम्युनिटी ऑफ कोऑपरेशन को इवॉल्व होना बहुत जरूरी है, और उस इवॉल्वमेंट के अंदर इन लोगों को अपने खुद के कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट बनाने पड़ेंगे, जिससे कि इस टाइप का बिहेवियर को बढ़ावा ना दिया जाए। पांचवा है कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग। Any society which has to grapple with risk and uncertainty inherent in agricultural resource management has to learn to create capacity not only to anticipate but also to address the future problems. The education and training of young minds thus become a very important determinant of the capacity to face emerging challenges in future. When the education system does or does not include content or pedagogical means which makes a potential leader aware of the challenges, an ethical judgment has been made. When certain crops and or their agricultural products are deliberately portrayed as inferior in the educational curriculum on cultural ground rather on nutritional or other scientific ground, values have already been expressed. Lack of periodic review of the skills that are being developed to address such concerns about externally diversity, intersectorial linkages, etc., invariably involving making trade offs about what should be told and what should young people learn on their own. कोई भी सोसाइटी जिसको रिस्क है या अनसर्टेनिटी है एग्रीकल्चरल रिसोर्स मैनेजमेंट के रेफरेंस में, उसको ये सीखना पड़ता है कि किस तरीके से कैपेसिटी को क्रिएट किया जाए। और ये जो क्रिएशन है, ये सिर्फ और सिर्फ एंटिसिपेट करने के लिए ही नहीं, पर जो फ्यूचर में प्रॉब्लम आ रही है उसको एड्रेस करने के लिए भी होनी चाहिए। जो हमारी एजुकेशन है, जो यंग जनरेशन को ट्रेनिंग दी जा रही है, ये एक बहुत बड़ा फैक्टर है, डिटर्मिनेंट है इस कैपेसिटी को लेके। अगर हम एजुकेशन और ट्रेनिंग यंग जनरेशन को नहीं देंगे तो आने वाले साल में बहुत दिक्कत आ सकती है। जब एजुकेशन सिस्टम शायद कभी हाँ करता है, कभी नहीं करता है, कुछ केसेस में वो इंक्लूड करता है, कभी वो मिस कर देता है उन कंटेंट को जो कि जो लीडर्स हैं उनको इन्फॉर्म ही नहीं कर पाए कि प्रॉब्लम क्या है, तो लीडर्स को पता ही नहीं पड़ेगा। जब लीडर्स को पता ही नहीं पड़ेगा तो जो जजमेंट है एथिकल वो ऑलरेडी पास हो चुका है। कोई आपने क्रॉप हो गया या कोई क्रॉप से रिलेटेड कोई प्रोडक्ट हो गया, उसको अगर आप जानबूझ के इंफीरियर दिखा रहे हो आपके एजुकेशनल करिकुलम के अंदर, किसी भी ग्राउंड पे, कल्चरल ग्राउंड पे ले लो या रिलीजियस ग्राउंड पे ले लो, आपने उसको नीचा दिखाया लेकिन उसकी न्यूट्रिशनल वैल्यू आपको नहीं समझ में आई, उसकी साइंटिफिक जो वैल्यू है वो आप उसको नहीं बता रहे हो, तो आपने एक जजमेंट ऑलरेडी पास कर दिया है। इसी कारण से पीरियोडिक रिव्यूज होते रहने चाहिए उन स्किल्स के जो कि डेवलप करेंगी उन चीज़ों को जो कि फ्यूचर के अंदर हमारे को हेल्प करेंगी। Six, location specificity. It is well known that agroecological environment in rain-fed regions is much more heterogeneous. Developing technologies which would diffuse only in a small region possesses an institutional challenge apart from technological challenge. Organizations' incentives are often provided commensurate with the diffusion or potential reach of a solution. If a technology is addressing problems of small community, it may not invoke a significant encouragement or incentive. Consequently, each problem do not address or the people who address such problem become marginalized. In either case, ethical judgments have to be made by the decision makers. When research, infrastructure, allocation of human resource, and priority in research are biased in favor of better endowed regions and communities, the ethics of neglecting the bypass communities and regions has to be made explicit. When hand tools receive less attention than energy incentive technologies, judgments have been made. Asymmetry in right Asymmetry in right of the responsibilities towards knowledgeable holders. No agricultural research council in developed or developing countries ever require a asymmetry between rights and responsibilities towards the knowledge holder of informal sector. Be deliberately overcome. The respondent in research with communities are not acknowledged, do not receive the finding of the research that are generated from the application or commercialization of the knowledge provided by the respondent knowledge provider. 8. Empowerment of informal innovators and knowledge holders. It is obvious that creativity exists in formal as well as informal sectors. Just as the scientist can generate a creative and innovative solution to a problem, a farmer or an artisan can too. The global bias against innovation is informal sector is very obvious. Inability of formal research system to listen to and learn from informal innovators not only deprives the organized sector of agricultural research and technology of the insight from the margin, but also prevents it from being inspired by the values of many of the grassroots innovators. The ethical trade-off in such matters invariably affect the efficiency, equity, excellence, and environmental consequences of such an institutional management. 8. Empowerment of informal innovators and knowledge holders. It is obvious that creativity exists in formal as well as informal sectors. Just as the scientist can generate a creative and innovative solution to a problem, a farmer or an artisan can too. The global bias against innovation is informal sector is very obvious. Inability of formal research system to listen to and learn from informal innovators not only deprives the organized sector of agricultural research and technology of the insight from the margin, but also prevents it from being inspired by the values of many of the grassroots innovators. The ethical trade-off in such matters invariably affect the efficiency, equity, excellence, and environmental consequences of such an institutional management.
'There are many activities that do not define as misconduct, but which are still regarded by most researchers as unethical. These are called as other deviations from acceptable research practices. These include publishing the same paper in two different journals without telling the editors. The purpose of publishing research in one particular journal only is to ensure that the information is stored in a specific manner in a specific location and is not duplicated. Not informing the collaborators of your intent to file a patent in order to make sure that you are the sole inventor. This topic has a little gray area. The information of the collaborator, both from their side and your side, should be open. If the collaborator finds at the later stage that you have been hiding information or data from them, the chances are that they will take back the finances they have involved or invested in you. This can be a loss of finances for you, or this can damage your reputation. Including a colleague as an author on a paper in return of a favor, even though the colleague did not make a serious contribution to the paper. Sometimes it happens that there are four friends. One friend says, I will give all three your names in my research paper. You can do the same for me. When this happens, all four individuals will have four individual papers. The idea of publishing is to ensure that the person who has worked hard in a particular paper, in a particular research, is given a proper name and he or she is helped in such a way that the individual who has worked is able to improve or gain in his career. In scientific research, career are more associated with publication and research. More number of publication means that you have better research. But remember, generally, the first two authors and the corresponding author has a high value as compared to the other authors. There are many scientists who I personally know have their work published as a favor because that individual is also going to publish the name of other researchers. If you have done some work in that particular paper, you can give that paper and the people in that work names, location, educational institute in that particular publication. But if somebody has not worked, one should avoid giving their names. Discussing with your colleagues confidential data from a paper that you are reviewing for a journal. There will be a time when you will be doing reviewing for a particular journal. You will be a reviewer for them. They will be sending you information, and this information might contain some aspects which are financially important for the author, or they might be having some patentable application. If we, as a reviewer, inform our friends or colleagues, or we ourselves use these particular information, then it is a wrong way and it is a misconduct. These misconducts comes under stealing. Trimming outliers from a dataset without discussing your reasons in paper. Sometimes in a paper, there are information which are not mentioned in a research paper, and these information are supposed to be at the end. They come under appendix. So sometimes one result is explained properly with these appendices. Now what happens is, if you have a particular research done and you are it's a big research and there are certain places where you don't think that the journal is going to accept more than a particular number of pages, then you inform all these information in appendix. Now what happens? The results that you have explained in your main article can be understood by the information that is given in these extra appendices. If you are not giving them, the information is half and it is not complete information. Using an inappropriate statistical technique in order to enhance the significance of your research. Manipulating numbers, data sets, All these things, specifically in which you require size, mass, ratio, all these things, these mathematical information can generally be manipulated very easily. For example, if you are supposed to measure the circumference of a cabbage, then some students, either they are lazy or either they don't want to work or either they don't have time or some or the other reason, which they know the best, what they do is that they take the circumference of 5 or 10 cabbages, and for the rest 40 or 50, they randomly write a number which is close to the average of these five. This is a wrong practice. Bypassing the peer review process and announcing your results through a press conference without giving peers adequate information to review your work. Sometimes it happens that an individual is either too eager to inform about his work or is too scared that the peers might reject his work for some reason or the other. And so, what they do is that they bypass the peer review process and they use channels like press conferences in order to give information about the work they are doing. The purpose of peer review is to identify any loopholes or mistakes in any particular research. When this method of peer reviewing is not done properly, the individuals suffer and their research also suffer, and the people who might have benefited from that research, they also end up suffering. Conducting a review of literature that fails to acknowledge the contribution of other people in the field or relevant prior work. If you are doing a review of literature, in that literature review, you have identified many information, but you have forgotten or you have omitted to name the major researchers and their authors in order to make or show that the work belongs to you. That is wrong conduct. Whenever you are going for review of a literature, you make sure that there is a proper citation for every individual who has worked, whose work you have taken and using. Stretching the truth on a grant application in order to convince reviewers that your project will make a significant contribution to the field. Sometimes scientists, when writing their project proposal for a particular grant, what they do is that they inform the grant givers that the information or the work which they are going to do is going to be extremely useful for everybody on the planet. What they don't understand is that the individuals who are reviewing your grant proposal, they themselves have a team who understands your topic and can work and analyze the mistakes in that particular proposal. It is most often pretty difficult to fool the individuals or the institutions which are going to give you the grant. This is something similar as stretching the truth on a job application or in a CV, because all these informations are now either available on the internet or they are available at one phone call. One thing is, although this is not ethically misconduct, doesn't come under misconduct, but it is still unethical. It is, you have two students and you give them the same research proposal to work on, just to find out who can work on that proposal first or the fastest. This is basically wastage of time for all three individuals. Both the students, only one person is going to benefit from it. The other student is not going to benefit. And as a faculty, you will be involved in wasting your time with both of them. Overworking, neglecting, or exploiting graduate or postdoctoral students. It is wrong to overwork these students. Just because they are your project students doesn't give you the right to exploit them to do your personal work, to do your office work. Just because they are your students and they have certain research experience, it doesn't mean that you can neglect them. It doesn't make any sense in exploiting your students with reference to finances for gifts. I remember a case where I was informed that this particular fellow is my student and he's going to pay for the whole party for as long as I want him to. That's a very wrong attitude. Failing to keep good research records, always remember, it is very important to keep research records, and these research records should be kept in such a way that they are not destroyed or damaged, because these research records can be asked for at any time for a particular duration, and if you are unable to give these records, the research sometimes may be nullified. As I said, these research records are supposed to be maintained for a reasonable period of time. In some cases, it is 5 years to 10 years. Sometimes it is for 15 to 25 years. And if this data is not available at that time, then the research might be nullified. If you are a reviewer and you are making personal attacks or derogatory comments, कि इसको तो आता ही नहीं है कुछ, he doesn't know anything, he's a useless fellow, these type of personal attacks in your reviews, they are also wrong. Promising a student a better grade for sexual favors. Remember, if anybody asks you for sexual favors in exchange for better grades, you have to report immediately. There are chances that you will not get the grades, but you will be hurt both emotionally and physically. There is a lot of psychological damage with these type of individuals. The best thing to do is to report them immediately. And same is the case with racism. If there is any type of racism which is seen in the laboratory, that is to be reported immediately. Making significant deviations from the research protocol approved by your institution's Animal Care and Use Committee or Institutional Review Board for Human Subjects Research without telling the committee or the board. Sometimes we have to modify our protocols. It is an inherent part of research that One protocol which might have worked for one individual might not work for another one, maybe because of a simple factor like humidity, maybe because of a simple factor like heat. In that case, what you have to remember is that the IRBs, the institutional review boards, and the ethical committees on animal care and animal use, these are informed about modification of your protocol if there is a major change. Small changes, for example, 25 degrees Celsius is the keeping temperature, you want to increase it to 28 degrees Celsius, that's still acceptable in many organizations. But if you're keeping them at 28 to 30 degrees, 31 degrees, 32 degrees, where the temperature is 28, 24 degrees requirement, then that is a deviation. That is animal cruelty. Not reporting an adverse event in a human research experiment. If there has been a particular death because of a particular drug that we are giving or testing during the clinical trials, an individual has to report these deaths. The researchers in all the major scientific fields, researchers in all the biomedical fields, researchers in all psychology field, all of them, whenever they are working with human candidates, they make sure that these adverse events are recorded and informed so that mistakes can be learned in order to improve from these mistakes. Wasting animals in research. Wasting of animals in research is also wrong. It is not a good idea to waste these animals just because they are small or they are not expensive. Exposing students and staff to biological risk in violation of your institution's biosafety rules. Throwing away biohazard in a normal non-biohazard dustbin. Throwing away agar and media without autoclaving. All these factors, they come under institutions' biosafety rules and they have to be dealt with strictly because sometimes these factors can cause severe damage and disease in the workers who are working with you. Rejecting a manuscript for publication without even reading it, sabotaging someone's work, stealing supplies, books, or data, rigging an experiment so you know how it will turn out. All these things, they are extremely wrong, and I have seen them personally happen. I have seen where an individual's stored uh, glycerol stock has been stolen. I have seen where an individual has added contaminant to a particular microbial plate as the experiment was going on. So these things, they are extremely wrong, and they are there are chances that the individual, if caught, will be penalized by revoking of degree or expulsion from the organization and all these things. Then making unauthorized copy of data, papers, or computer programs. This is theft. Deliberately overestimating the clinical significance of a new drug in order to obtain economic benefits. There are organizations which have tried to do this. They have given information that their drug is clinically significant. It is going to work on so many particular diseases, but they were not able to prove or provide information associated with it. These actions would be regarded as unethical by most scientists, and some might even be illegal. Most of these would also violate different professional ethic codes or institutional policies.